Okay, I think that's recording. Hi, I'm Roy S. Ford, Black American. A lot of you are already subscribers and you're seeing this and you're like, oh, Roy's gonna say something really cool and like, evocative and provocative and trend talkative. Well, as you're already subscribers, I'm very lighthearted. My whole channel is about encouragement. But I was just so, what's the word? In light of everything going on, the tragedy of George Floyd, who, by the way, George Floyd, Black American, African American, um, graduated high school the same year I did. He's literally in the same age group that I am. Like me, my brother, all of my cousins are all in his same age group. And all of us are African American. We're Black American. Um, it's a travesty that none of the other police officers took time to at least to say, you know what, we need to roll him over. Now, as I was looking at that, I saw, just the lack of empathy. Now, back in the day, we used the term the golden rule, where treat others as you want to be treated. Uh, another term that we use is, care about other people, be kind, um, treat your neighbor as you want to be treated. All of that. Of course, nowadays we wrap it all up in the word empathy. I know one thing's for sure after seeing what has happened over the last 2 weeks, and it took me a while to kind of put it into words after seeing that video. And, last week I put out a video. It's just text on a screen for 8 minutes and 46 seconds of the dialogue that was exchanged, the words that George Floyd said. And it was very powerful. So if you want to go ahead and go back and look at that, that's really moving. I'll leave a description link for you guys. But my experience for me personally, here's the deal. I've been pulled over multiple times. Not to the extent where it was ugly every time. There was one instance where I was pulled over and they asked me what neighborhood, why am I in this neighborhood? And keep in mind, this was the neighborhood that I've lived in for over, 10 years. Um, and so, yeah, racism is real. And, every time you go to a store that's out of your price range, I get it, where I'll have a clerk or a customer representative who will, hi, can I help you? Yeah, I get that a lot. So I don't really think anyone's immune to those sort of things as being a black man here in America. I get that all the time. So yeah. And I apologize if this isn't, this is all over the place. I'm kind of talking off the top of my head. But I wanted to share something with you guys that had been so impressed upon me just by me watching all the protests. And that is how diverse all the groups, all the ethnicities, everyone is represented. Not only here in the United States of America, but across the globe. I saw people in Germany protesting. I saw people in Australia protesting. Um, it was just like crazy. In the UK, I saw tons of protests. So I know that racism is not just based in the United States of America. If it caused that many people to have an uproar across the globe, that racism truly is something much bigger. To the point of police brutality, I feel like we could get some legislation going and things can change quickly within a year. Um, I believe racism is something that's going to take longer because it's an issue of the heart. And I believe that in order for things to work on the heart, it has to be approached differently than trying to have, legislation and policies in order to do that. But it will happen. I believe because of the movement and because of everything that we saw George Floyd go through, that there will be change and that our generation, Generation X, the millennials, and Gen Z are going to be the generation to see it happen, to see it happen. Just like my grandmother saw my mother's generation in the 60s do change, I believe we're going to see our kids and something happen in our generation where the change will happen. Um, how do you go about doing that, Roy? Well, I don't have all the answers. All right. I mean, I could say, yeah, we need to start in the church and build unity in the church between the black church and the white church and have a common ground there. I could see it in the communities where on National Night Out, we spend more time communicating with our officers and getting on board with them and knowing who they are, building relationships there. Um, because the more you know the people who are patrolling your community, the better a sense you get for how they are. They're like, okay, that guy is good. Officer Brown is good, but Officer Williams has a chip on his shoulder. You can kind of that sort of thing, and then you can bring that attention to their supervisors. But it helps with building relationships and really caring about each other. You know, um, that's just a few of my things off the top of my head. Obviously, I don't have all the answers to that, but I'm gonna say this: I'm so encouraged and I'm so hopeful by seeing all the protests, by seeing the people go take to the streets, and by seeing the line in Georgia at the voting poll. It was insane. People were in line and seeing people going, okay, we have to change this policy even on the local level. Um, Especially here in the United States of America, in a country where it's part of, like Martin Luther King Jr. says, I want you to give us what you put on paper. I love that line because it's already in the Constitution, and we've added amendments to speak to that. Um, yeah, I'm very, very hopeful. I'm very inspired by the protests of last week, by seeing the communities come together. I live here, right here in Houston, where George Floyd was laid to rest, and seeing all the different communities, seeing over 60,000 people go to downtown, which, trust me, on a day-to-day basis, not a lot of people go downtown because, the way Houston's set up, everyone's out, on the suburbs and working in the, outlying areas of Houston. But I'm going to say this. It's been so refreshing, so encouraging. If you want to take action, definitely, you're 18 and up and you can vote. Do that. Do your research. Do your research and find out who in your community is really pushing forth the idea of bringing more unity and getting rid of racism. I love that. And those of you who are under, sign petitions, keep posting on your social media, all of the avenues at which that you could share. It's probably the best thing to do. But I mean, I'm going to close it out right here. I didn't want to be too long. As a Black American male living in this country at this day and age, we have a lot of work to do. But I'm so hopeful to see that the problem has gone beyond just a Black American community problem to seeing it as a global problem. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. I would love to hear some of your ideas and your thoughts down in the comments. I'm here for you. I'm trying to reply to as many of them as I can. And I just thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. And I'll get to some more lighter, fun entertainment stuff here, but I just had to put this on. So thanks, guys, so much. And I'll talk to you next time.